yes.
What we have inherited over the past 8 years is going to be very expensive to correct. Mm-hmm. Is there any way that we can correct those things and pay down the national debt?
I believe there is. You know, I remember the day after the 92 election, we had thought all during the election, based on numbers from the federal government, that the deficit would be about $150 billion. The day after the election, it was announced that the deficit was, I think, closer to $350 billion, if I remember right. And it's very difficult because we have squandered our opportunity. I mean, one of the reasons I'm running is because at the end of the 90s, we were positioned to solve a lot of our problems. We had the resources to do it. We had a balanced budget and a surplus. We were on the way to paying down the debt. I will never forget the day I was on the Budget Committee in the Senate, and Alan Greenspan came to testify in favor of Bush's tax cuts. And many of us said, look, maybe a small tax cut in order to stimulate the economy, but not a huge tax cut that is going to throw us back into deficits. And Alan Greenspan said, oh, it's a very serious problem if we pay down the debt. I will never forget him saying that. And so here we are. We certainly don't have that problem. We've gone from a projected $5.6 trillion surplus to a $9 trillion debt. We have to get back to the tax rates on the wealthiest of Americans that we had in the 90s. And I will push that as quickly as I possibly can. We have to make sure that we give middle-class Americans the tax breaks they need to stay afloat, because they're going to have to deal with the fallout of all of these economic problems that we're facing. And I think we've got to go on a pay-as-you-go model. You cannot cut taxes or increase spending unless you can pay for it. That's what we did during the 90s. That's what we should do again. And sometimes when I say let's look at what worked, because it wasn't so long ago that it did work, people say, oh, there she goes again talking about the 90s. Well, you're right, because it worked. Why would we reinvent the wheel on economics and on fiscal responsibility if we could figure out how to make it work? And I think there are a lot of lessons that we can apply. Obviously, it's a different time, and you have to look to the future, but I don't think arithmetic is out of fashion. Things should add up, and people should have to be held accountable for adding it up. So that's what I intend to do. It will take time. It is going to be even harder than it was before. But as we end the war in Iraq, that's a lot of money that will come back to America. And, we're going to have to take a hard look at all of the no-bid contracts and the other abuses that the Bush administration has engaged in and try to end them and recover that money for the taxpayer. So there's a lot that I think we can do, and I'm looking forward to getting my hands dirty and trying to do that.